Hi folks, my name is Gerdes. I'm just a professor trying to help you understand context in the war in Ukraine. We're going to talk about fake videos or deep fakes or the kinds of propaganda that are made up and then they amplify a particular narrative. Here we're going to look at one from the Kyiv Independent where they have just showed you all the reasons why this fake video isn't real. It's apparently supposed to be the former president, Poroshenko, who is talking about how he's going to create a group that maybe take down Zelensky or defend against Zelensky or whatever else. Okay, we're going to watch this and then we're going to spend time trying to understand why this is being put together. So let's look at this. Okay, warning, fake video. This is not Ukraine's ex-president speaking. This is important. It's not him. The video is from January 2024. The Zoom call was obtained by the Kyiv Independent, and we'll see what actually
will fight against Zelensky administration. And we kill this bastard in future.
Okay, well, was that Poroshenko? It doesn't look like. It looks like somebody else is talking, and here are the reasons why. The Kyiv Independent analyzed it. They found that it was a disinformation campaign.
So it's a great pleasure to see you again and to discuss all.
So now who's he talking to? He's talking to international fighters in Ukraine that had this Zoom interviews with the fake Peter Poroshenko, pretending he's claiming that he's hired his own little security force and maybe something bigger is brewing.
Issues that we have already collected. That is why I'm collecting a battalion. People who will defend me in case if we will make a revolution in Ukraine.
Now, that's not it's not that it hasn't happened before, that there was a revolution in Ukraine. So he's talking about something that seems to have a real possibility. And it inflates the existing Russian narrative that, you know, Zelensky versus Zelensky or Zelensky versus Poroshenko and that kind of thing. So do they have an interest in inflating that? Of course they do. Are they doing it directly? We don't know. But let's look at what's going on. Okay, so if you're reading that, there's no evidence that Poroshenko is actually doing this. But let's look at the video. They identified that it was a fake, apparent disinformation campaign. First, this is not Poroshenko's voice. He doesn't actually sound like that. He sounds like he's German. Like if you Google him and listen to his speeches.
Unfortunately, I have here a speech, not open and remark, but I try to be a little bit shorter.
But my first question is, how are you there?
Sound doesn't match lip movement. That's another sign. You could assume that was a poor Zoom connection.
The problem is that Ukraine has no elections.
The gestures also repeat. Does
perfect.
Deal.
So we'd like to know what is
doing the same thing. Now, I mean, it's not unreasonable. Like, you know, if I'm, you know, scratching my nose or something, maybe I'll do it the same way, but I won't do it exactly the same way each time.
What is your opinion about the current situation? What is your opinion about the
Yeah, his mouth isn't moving at the same time, and those kind of things.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, now here's some really interesting stuff. The email address scheduling the Zoom call was actually known to be used by Russian provocateurs. And yeah, that's what's really interesting here. And it traces back to Vovan and Lexus. Okay, they found the original clip that the voice is speaking over the Russian YouTube channel, so that's interesting as well.
Ваше превосходительство, очень рад вас видеть. может быть, administration Ермака не совсем...
Oh, so it was from a Russian video a year ago, and that's what is the nature of the Zoom call now, and it matches perfectly. So that's really interesting. Yeah, it shouldn't identically match. Now, if you watch my videos, I'm sitting here maybe with the same shirt on that you saw in a previous video, but it's not going to be exact matching throughout, right? Okay, there's Vovan and Lexus. They're famous pranksters, and they've pranked a number of people. Most famously, the Italian Prime Minister, but they've also impersonated Boris Yeltsin and some others.
Last month, we learned the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell was tricked by a fake call from Russian pranksters.
So,
well, I see that there is a lot of fatigue.
Okay, so that was the Italian Prime Minister talking about how there's a lot of war fatigue, and we got to get to a solution here sooner or later. And so that was amplifying the narrative that the West is tired, they just want to give up, they just want this war to be over, and so they were doing this intentionally.
Hello?
There's Boris Johnson.
Hello, good afternoon.
Or the
Boris Johnson
impersonation
here.
of Boris.
Pro-Kremlin pranksters. But the Ukraine war has given them a new focus and new victims to deceive.
Look who's there, Mr. President.
Okay, so now the last little bit said that they deny that they have government support, but of course the Russian government is benefiting from this. They're also amplifying the narratives coming from Vovan and Lexus. Let's look a little bit at Vovan and Lexus. So here's a Wikipedia page about them, and they've been doing this for some time. They've pranked many people, including Elton John in 2015, well before the war started. They pranked Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. They pranked John McCain. They pranked Vitaly Klitschko. So they've been at this for some time down here since the war began, November 22nd. After the 2022 missile explosion in Poland, they pranked Polish President Duda into thinking that he was talking to Macron. Now, had Duda either been not as guarded or had not caught on? Apparently, Duda caught on and later said that he realized he was speaking with an imposter or an impersonator and ended the conversation. But had he, this could have caused World War III. Like, had he said something like really inflammatory. This was a Russian missile it was a Ukrainian missile that we thought was a Russian missile entering into NATO territory, and wow. Okay, at any rate, June 22nd, they pranked J.K. Rowling, making her believe that she was talking to Zelensky. February 2023, they pranked Angela Merkel, pretending to be who? Poroshenko, same guy. So they've been at this for some time, and they've done this again most famously with the Italian Prime Minister, making her think that she was speaking to somebody from the African Union. That's where she was saying we need a way out. We need, there's war fatigue, we need a way out. Okay, so with that being said, let's look at what's going to happen here. So if they can make this fake look like it's something more than it is, well, that inflames the narrative. Here's just in December of the dormant conflict between Poroshenko and Zelensky, or Zelensky versus Zelensky. Like there's they have every reason to amplify this, and then it'll get picked up by something like Redacted. Again, this is a month ago. Zelensky's hated in Ukraine and he's being replaced. Well, he hasn't been replaced. They just kind of speculate about things all the time on this show. But you'll see the Redacted or the Duran or Scott Ritter or McGregor or somebody like that will pick this up and run with it, even though it's a fake narrative. That's the kind of thing that happens here. So that's why you need to be aware of and understand what fakes are, how to unpack them, and good on the Kyiv Independent. They've done a masterful job of showing you all the issues that were wrong with it, but you just need to understand it. Okay, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for the time, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.